Hello, everybody. Welcome to Free Thoughts.
Welcome back to the Anime Club, talking about the anime 86.
Yeah.
Salutations. I don't know.
What the okay. So, first of all, let's see if any of us have like a specific recommendation that we'd make for anyone watching the podcast if you really liked 86. Let's start with Realm.
I have several recommendations, actually. My first one, and least like comparison that I thought of off the bat, was Tanya. Mainly just because the war and stuff like that. It does have a lot more like old like themes and stuff like that going on. Like the architecture is not nearly as modern and stuff like that. But I feel like a lot of the themes are similar enough to where you could honestly like watch Tanya.
If you make the World War II connection very specifically, you could watch Tanya very easily off this.
Yeah. So I would honestly recommend Tanya off of the back of this.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in it for some sad boy shit and want some depressing emotional beats, go watch ReZero. Watch ReZero.
That would work too.
Yeah.
I think my two big recommendations are both with caveats. I think 86 is better than both in the end. But I think if you're looking for elements of the sort of that idea of the us versus them, the like racial differences, Code Geass does this. I think this series heavily pulls from some of the stuff Code Geass does.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think Code Geass is definitely one of the first recommendations that comes to mind. And while I'm not a big fan of it, I think some of the elements this does also rides off some of the coattails of the Attack on Titan writing style.
Really does. So, as I was going to say, Attack on Titan, and, well, read the novels, as I said before. They're really nice. Do read them.
Is this just going to be an obligatory thing every time we go over an adaptation? Read the source material.
Okay, but the source material is always usually good.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Hamefora.
Did I say it was wrong?
Oh, god dang it. What was I thinking? No, Sekhmet, you go and I will see if I remember. Did you just squirt soda up your nose?
No, she's...
Well, Vorn cannot remember, and Seki is currently dying.
Okay, wait, I'm actually going to say something.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Fuck you, Realm.
I don't necessarily think I have a specific recommendation for this, and I want to make it very clear that that's not because I don't think that there are shows like this. That's genuinely because I don't watch these shows. This is so far out of my comfort zone in terms of what I would ever watch willingly on my own. I hate shows about war. I hate depression shows. I do not like watching mech shows that aren't essentially just comedies. This is light years away from what I would normally watch, so I've never read or seen something that would compare to this. Even though I know that there must exist some things that would compare to this.
Agami ga Kill.
Akame ga Kill?
Yeah, I can't freaking say
German
the name.
dungeon porn.
Yeah, that is the shad shit.
Don't watch German dungeon porn, kiddos.
Yep, don't, seriously. But if you want something that correlates to sad shit,
No.
this kind of does it.
No,
That correlates to edgy shit.
Look, Akame ga Kill attempts an emotional undertone, but they do not follow through on said emotional undertone. None of the emotional moments in Akame ga Kill, at least in the early episodes, actually hit the way they're supposed to. It's like you hit a golf ball and instead of sinking a hole in one, you put it in the sand.
Yeah.
It's funny, not sad.
I mean, if you're in it for visual porn instead, you could watch Kimetsu no Yaiba or Demon Slayer, because this is also very good animation quality.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're spoiled in the modern era. There's a lot of visual porn anime out these days.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you love the sound direction, go check out the Attack on Titan soundtrack.
Go check out any of Sawano's works, to be honest.
Yeah.
Sawano is a musical god.
There's genuinely one battle in this anime, and I don't remember what battle it was, but I just looked at Realm and I was like, that sounds like the first Attack on Titan opening, and I am here for it.
Yeah. Oh, the newest Gundam, was it? Iron Blood. Yeah, Iron Blood.
Yeah. And
Why do I feel like you say it's the newest one, but this one's like 4 years old and there's been like 3 or 4
No.
since?
No. There's a Gundam coming out currently. I think it is Iron Blood. Yeah.
No, Iron Blood. No,
Did it
Iron
end?
Blood Orphan ended a while ago.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because there is actually a Gundam coming out this season.
Oh, yeah.
And next season. Like, there
Okay.
is actively Gundam releasing, right? I mean, okay, so really quickly touching on my opinion of mechs, which I know Nick Knack disagrees with, but so because mechs are a genre I do not watch willingly, ever, right? The only time I have ever willingly watched a mech was Gundam. And so a lot of my opinions on what a mech show should be kind of fall back to Gundam and the, get in a robot and fight. Like Transformers, but manned by humans. It's more of a, even though it's a mechanized suit, it's a suit. It's not a vehicle or a mode of transportation necessarily. And also, because I'm used to Gundam, I just have a kind of vibe opinion on it. Gundam, while Gundam covers a lot of topics that could be classed as heavy or very involved thematically or in terms of storyline, Gundam also has quite a bit of levity with jokes and stuff like that, especially because it's an older show, and a lot of older shows intersperse a lot of raunchy comedy. And when I say Gundam, I mean OG Gundam. Like, not recent Gundam. I haven't seen any recent Gundams, but I've seen the original Gundam series. So, that's kind of why I don't feel like this is a mech.
I think that might speak more to both your inexperience in the genre as well as the kind of the stagnation of the genre's image as of late, because it used to be a little bit more dynamic you can look at isekai, and isekai, for however derivative it can be, it has changed its image a lot.
Yeah.
Mech hasn't necessarily done that as effectively.
Okay, so I really do like the looks of actually how the Legion is actually shown in this anime, because only thing that we get in the light novel are schematics and like some drawings, and that really doesn't actually show like the movement of like the spider legs and how like the turrets move and guns fire and stuff like that. It's really, really cool, especially also with the liquid arm right there.
Kudos to a show having a spider-looking mechanic and not making me run screaming for the hills. My arachnophobic ass would have been out of here in a shot if that had actually been scary.
Yeah.
I called them like the spider-moving things, because they move like... Especially in the fight scene that you were talking about with the song Answer.
Yeah.
They really move like a spider, kind of jumping and scuttling.
Yeah. Oh, since she actually did talk about Answer was actually the first song that was put out before the anime started, and I was so confused by, like, the first episode when Tincho was all, I was like, wait, what? You had such a really, really good song, and you didn't put it in all until, like, you showed up the second episode, like, yes.
And it's really interesting because Answer is kind of techno-poppy in the way it sounds. Like, it's kind of upbeat and fast-paced, and it's put in the middle of a combat. And a lot of this show, the combats are kind of really depressing, but this particular combat in episode 2, the characters are actually actively joking around with one another and bantering and laughing. So you go into the combat for the first 10 or 20 seconds thinking, why is there such a peppy song on such a depressing topic? But then you realize the general mood is peppy and bantery, and it's kind of really fitting, surprisingly.
And as it turns out, it's because those characters are having the time of their lives. This is an easy fight.
Yeah, they're chilling. They're essentially playing easy mode on their favorite game.
Yeah, it's shooting fish in a barrel? Is that the same?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Fish in a barrel.
Because then you get like the actually hard fight, the first one that Lena has to sit on, and they're like, Lena, just log off now, please.
Yeah.
Oh, I do want to actually say that during that fight, when like she actually hears the voices, we do see the like what would you call that thing like that stood up in the middle of the plaza? It was like a triangular shape. It was very tall, and actually had this picture / mural of the statue, and like
An obelisk?
yeah, I guess you would call it an obelisk. Yeah, but like that symbolism right there of like him. Like of Shin quite literally grabbing onto it and them shooting the obelisk to bring it down right on top of the Legion.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
that was
obelisk.
so nice.
One of my favorite pieces of symbolism was in the first episode where they had consistently, whenever someone dropped and accidentally wasted food, someone died.
Ooh.
I knew at that very moment what kind of show this was.
Yeah.
I think my favorite moment in the show is the end of the episode 4. So, end of episode 4, Lena's feeling really fucking down. and so she's kind of like walking with her head down and stuff, and it kind of freezes where she's on the left of the screen, and you see her face and her shoulders, and the second ending comes in, the one that's more determined and hopeful, and from her looking down, her head turns up, and there's fire in her eyes. Quite literally, her color palette changes to strong oranges and reds with the shadowing in her eyes, and the song crescendos.
Knack over here can't appreciate it because he's colorblind.
Hell yeah.
No, he could tell that one because she was paletted out in blue and purple, and then they flipped it dramatically to red and orange and yellow.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't see it, but knowing what I know from some stuff later on, yeah, I could see them doing that.
Yeah.
Oh, Realm, what was your favorite scene?
I already actually expounded upon it in earlier in the character scene.
Yeah, but free thoughts. Come on.
I'm not kidding. I literally already.
Yeah, he
expounded
gave
on
his
it.
thoughts, I think, as far as that scene
I
goes.
think Vorn just wants you to restate what it was.
So
specifically.
it was specifically the fight scene between Shin and his now Legionnaire brother.
Yeah.
That was basically my favorite scene right there.
God, I loved how unnerving his brother's face was, like glitching in and out. That was fucking beautiful.
Oh, I love the scene where like Lena ends up in the cemetery because it's actually the cemetery of the fighters that actually fought the Legion, if like at the first 2 weeks, and all pretty much got wiped out.
Yeah, before the 86ers and
Yeah.
processors came in. Yeah.
Oh, that was such a nice scene in terms of symbolism and everything else.
You know what the most impressive part about the show is? We're in Free Thoughts. Our last segment, pre me editing it and cutting it down, was almost an hour. And I don't think we've even scratched the surface of everything I want to talk about in this show. I think before we started recording, I went on for 30 minutes at Knick Knack. Not with Knick Knack, but at Knick Knack's general direction about literally how you could kind of date the society and culture, and you could tell the differences between people by just looking at what they were wearing and how the backgrounds were drawn and the color palettes, and you could see that society, what they're trying to say in the Capitol with the backgrounds and the clothing and the technology is that technologically the Republic has moved forward, but societally and culturally they're still stuck in the 50s and stuff like that. And it all leads back to the fact that I am a little bit of an amateur clothing historian, and I'm really into that kind of detail in shows. It really draws me in. And I also talked to him about how sometimes the scenes just remind me of certain parts of Ghibli movies and stuff. And like I said, I talked at Knick Knack. He didn't really...
Yeah, at a certain point after she brought up the general, like, the society moving forward technologically but not socially, I got that plenty. And then she kept talking.
I did. Because I have a lot of very specific examples. And then there was a part that Relm and I loved that I showed to Knick Knack that just highlights like how detailed they are and how specific in every background. So the scientist's desktop screen, her computer screen, we see it maybe 6 or 7 times throughout the anime. And oh my fucking god, it gives me anxiety. I'll screenshot it and put it up on screen, but basically all of her documents are just randomly piled on top of one another with no organization and different colors all over the place. And in between 2 episodes, one of the posters on her back wall, which are so detailed that you could read the titles and percentages and graphs on them, actually changes the percentage amounts from one episode to the next, so the poster has changed in the background. And this is literally just the background of her office is changing so significantly that you can actually notice it from episode to episode. It's not even a moving background or anything that mattered to the show. It's just the detail they included. It's fucking beautiful.
Yes, the show definitely has an astounding attention for detail. I think... Oh, did you have something to say before? And I saw you perk up.
Actually, I wanted to let Realm ask his questions, but you go first, and then we'll have Realm.
My main question actually was honestly how the Legion works, but since we're not going over that...
Well, I can explain partially.
Again.
The Legion, as you've seen, they actually have different mecha. You actually have the flying mecha, which is actually they scramble any radar, any communications. That's the reason why they don't know. Maybe there's something out there. Maybe
is that the black sheep that they talk about in one of the earlier episodes, or is that their mini drones?
No, like that's the ones that fly like butterflies.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, those are the flying ones. Then you actually have the scouts, which are the little tiny, pterodactyl ones that Sakmat talked about right there.
Yeah.
Those are their scouts. They have the best. They're like light tanks, pretty much, if you know what I'm talking about. Then you actually have the scorpions, which are their artillery and snipers.
Mortars/snipers.
And then you actually have the. What is it?
Is the shepherds after that? Or
No. Shepherds are actually a totally different thing. They're but these are the types of legion I'm talking about right now. Then you have Lurv, that's heavy tank. Dinosaur is the one that the dead brother was in. That's their most heavy tank.
Mm-hmm.
And then we actually have the medium tank. I can't remember the name of it right now, but I will now explain the white sheep, black sheep, and shepherds.
Okay.
I sense a complete rewatch of this show soon in my future so I can get all the necessary screen caps to illustrate what we're talking about.
Yeah. So, white sheep, they are the original legion. They are the ones that are predicted to die out
within 2 years.
Within the 2-year time span. Now, the black sheep, which we find out, are actually the harvested brains from the corpses of the 86.
Mm-hmm.
Now, these are damaged brains, and I'm putting that in quotation marks.
Yeah.
Because, when a person dies, their brain decomposes pretty quickly and starts to lose construction.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And then we actually have the shepherds, which are actually alive people who got their heads taken off and quite literally input into machine, but not exactly literally. It's a bit more later stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's later on. Read or watch it if it shows up. That will explain it way better than probably I can. But how the white sheep actually do it is they're very, very simple AI.
Yeah.
And when I mean AI, I don't talk about Alexa or Siri in terms of AI right there. I mean an actual artificial intelligence. It can kind of think for itself.
Like Jervis and Friday.
Yes, those AI that you actually see in movies right there.
It's Ultron.
Or that, or like HAL 9000.
Yeah.
God, don't even. I just had to read that book for class. Fuck that book.
It's what happens if any AI robot supremacy story happened to change itself into a zombie apocalypse as well.
Best thing to link it to. It's like Terminator.
Yes,
it's
Skynet.
the base Terminators right there.
It's like Skynet.
Also, we completely forgot to mention that one of the things that happens in the anime is that the Undertaker has to execute the ones who died, but their heads aren't pulverized, and then he carves out pieces of their mechs to take with him.
Carves them out.
I know, that's what I'm saying. We didn't even mention it when covering characters, but it takes intense strength of will to be the one who's basically told, if your comrades aren't immediately obliterated, you have to go look them in the eye and shoot them in the head and obliterate their brain.
Yeah.
Like that.
Metal.
That's rough.
Yeah.
No, it's not even the emotional toll that has to take on someone. These are people that you spend all of your time with. They are your best friends, the only people that you can rely on, and you have to execute them.
Yeah,
it's even rougher is those people. They trust him to do it too.
Yeah. They expect him to do it.
Yeah. The amount of strain that puts on someone is intense.
Yeah.
I actually think emotionally I'm impressed with these shows because even though this is a visual porn show and it does have some really well animated fight scenes, I'm never hyped in the middle of the fights, especially after a certain point in the series.
Yeah.
I'm always more like, oh god, they're going into another fight.
Yeah. You're always afraid for them because you know that one of them is not going to come out alive. You just don't know who.
This isn't Fate where I'm going into a fight and I'm like, hell yeah, beat the shit out of each other.
This is a fight where you're going into oh god, who's going to die this time?
Yeah.
And they're also really good at never giving death flags for any characters.
No. Yeah.
It is always completely unexpected. Honestly, I would literally never have guessed in a million years that Black Dog would die.
Yeah.
Because they had the thing going with him and Snow Witch, Anju and him. Mm-hmm. And that was so cute, and I thought we were going to get some fulfillment on that. And we did, but not in the way I wanted.
There's a lot of character arcs just get cut short from their death, which does serve a purpose.
Yeah.
I know, and it felt because their romance got cut short, but then we actually keep seeing Anju suffering from this throughout the entire rest of the season.
And she doesn't show it throughout. Like, she doesn't actively, like, express it or, like, talk about it. But you can see it in her face in any given scene.
And Fido shows us an example of it. Like, he's actually has in one of his film clips, is Anju. She walks out and she just slumps. And you know that's when she walked out with the pot after they confronted her in the cafeteria and asked her if she needed help, if the pot was too heavy. She said, no, it's not. She walks out, and then we see Fido's perspective of it later, where she closes the door and just slumps down on the step, unable to go on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we need to continue the answer. So, how the black sheep works they are the, as I said before, the assimilated dead brains of the 86. They are actually far
the ones
more...
that scream, right?
Yeah.
In their heads?
They are far more smarter, but they only have the thoughts of their last dying breaths, pretty much. Mm-hmm. Which is the reason why, like,
they're strategically smart. They're like that. They're like that computer that plays chess.
Yeah, they don't
doesn't have a personality, but it has strategy.
Yeah, like they can do better tactics.
It's more like Siri and Alexa.
Yeah, it's more like Siri and Alexa. Yeah, except they have that final last dying thought or wish that's screaming.
Yeah.
Help, 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 help. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. My daughter, my daughter, my daughter, my daughter. What? God, I could not imagine being in like a fighting situation and having to hear something like that. Like the just, what's the word? The despairing final cries on repeat of people who are dying.
Yeah, and they don't actually have any personality or memories except for that just final memory of that last tiny bit. Now, the shepherds are special because they are harvested brains of actual living people. So they actually do keep their personalities a little bit more, their memories.
But something happens and they're fucked up. They're not the same as normal.
They
as
are,
evidenced by Shin's brother.
Yeah. They're commanded, like, they have certain rules they have to follow. If they don't, they'll get mind broke. Yeah. Not actual mind broke, but I think people know what I'm talking about, I hope.
Yeah. So the question is, actually, I mean, do they actually go into much of the, not anatomy, but the construction of the Legion?
Oh, yes, most definitely.
I bet once they get past where the anime ended.
They definitely passed where the anime ended.
No, because they go to the Jihad Empire, so they have to see.
Yeah. But
we just haven't seen it yet in the anime.
Yeah. No, I'm more so talking about like the internal structure of the Legion.
That's what I mean. Like they've got to show us eventually.
Depending on how in depth you want, it could be Volume 5. It could be a little bit even later than Volume 5. But the Legion are kind of an evolving like species of killing machine, but literally.
I'm less
like Terminators, basically.
Yeah, I'm less interested in the machine and more in the factories, to be honest.
Oh yeah,
we get that.
Like I am really interested in that because
you'll figure out, like, they do explain how the AI was created, the purpose why they were created, some stuff found. Glad that will actually come up in season 2. Supposedly, I hope they do it. So yeah.
So a lot is either going to happen in season 2. By the way, check it out; it just finished airing. Or it will happen in a later season if it gets confirmed for another season, which I can't see it not if they want to do a third season. Yeah. Like, if they don't finish this at the end of second season, I can't see them not getting a third season if the quality stays the same. And honestly, it's been so short of a break since the first season aired, I wouldn't be surprised if they get confirmed for a third season real fucking quick.
Well, here's the thing.
This is not like Overlord where there was like 3 years in between season 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. They kind of already, like, confirmed that they would actually have 24 episodes. They just split it up. So.
Well, yeah, that's seasons 1 and 2. But I mean, like, another season.
I don't know if we're guaranteed the second season, really.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think if season 2 finishes off well, we probably are.
Well, technically, this isn't season 2. It's technically season 1.
They're calling it season 2, but it's more effectively production-wise a second core.
Yeah. Born. It's listed as season 2, so it's also called 86 Part 2 on Mal.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna call it season 2.
I'm gonna stand on this. I think it could go either way. The show is doing well enough, but I think even though they're calling it season 2, it is effectively, as far as production is concerned, just a second core.
Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff that actually gets us the second season is more of its response in Japan, not in like the
Not in the other countries.
yeah,
because-
not outer
Yeah.
worlds.
But I mean, if we were just concerned about like its reception in the other parts of the world, there are 3 shows from the last 4 seasons that I have unequivocally had pop up on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and every other platform that I'm a part of, and that is 86, Tokyo Revengers, and Jujutsu Kaisen. So, I mean, just if we're talking about sheer popularity or shows that blew people away recently, I mean, this is up there with Jujutsu Kaisen and Tokyo Revengers, both of which are absolutely fucking adored in the English-speaking anime community.
Yep.
It's sort of the sad thing about anime production, though, is it never comes down to popularity. It always comes down to Blu-ray sales.
Well, Blu-rays, light novels, a lot of other stuff, but it's mostly just the merch sales because that is what gives them their funding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Merchandising.
Quite literally.
Merchandising. That's where all the real money is.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, if I remember correctly, 7 Seas, which actually released light novel, says they are actually making a loss on their light novel sales, so they have to rely on their merchandising sales just because so many people hire it, the like visual novel. So yeah.
Yeah, I think, and the thing is, like, I buy a lot of Seven Seas novels and webcomics at Barnes & Nobles these days, or on Amazon, because Seven Seas is the major releaser of light novels and webcomics currently. I mean, they own the English rights to a lot of big franchises,
Yeah.
but light novels are still not as popular in the US as manga is. We are significantly behind Japan in that aspect. Like, light novels as animes are really only just now starting to get a ton of attention in the English-speaking community, and a lot of people just don't know that you can go out and buy the light novels.
What's really hard is that just not every not every light novel is localized. So a lot of people will operate under the assumption that, I love this anime, but the light novel's not localized yet. And even if it is, they're just going to go pirate.
Like, I think
because they do for every other light novel.
Yeah,
Like this-
it's one of those things where I'm gonna be honest. I do actively pirate certain series that haven't been released in English, and obviously I'm a broke ass college student. You know, I can't afford to pay for every book that I want to buy. But if I find a series I really like, I do try to go out of my way to buy official copies of the English books whenever I can. But it's just so many series aren't, and the books themselves are so expensive. And like I said, it's only in the last 2 years or so at Barnes & Nobles that they started carrying light novels, especially, on the shelves. And only in the last 6 months at my local Barnes & Nobles have I noticed an actual shelf dedicated to light novels, not just sorting them into the manga shelves.
Yeah.
Like, there is now an actual shelf for it at my local Barnes & Nobles, but only in the last 6 months or so.
Rome, you were trying to say something.
Yeah, so bringing back to the point of like light novels. So one anime that I watched, this is like way back, and when I was like kind of first getting into anime, was Shakugan no Shana, which was like an anime that I was interested in at the time because I liked like the development and stuff like that, but also it was just anime, and quite frankly, I was taking what I could get at any given time because I was so new to anime, and anime wasn't quite nearly as popular as I think today. And I was trying to figure out, okay, well, where's the manga for this? But then I discovered, it's actually originally a light novel. And there were literally, at the time, 2 of the volumes were licensed by Viz. And then after that, they just dropped production on it. They just stopped producing it.
Yeah, Viz really doesn't do that much. It's mostly Yen Press and
Seven Seas.
Seven Seas. Soul Press kind of does it, but it's
Yeah.
mostly manga.
Yeah. So basically,
yeah.
what we're saying to all of you viewers out there is, if you have a Barnes & Nobles, go there, find their light novel shelf, and go look through it.
Even
Yeah.
if you don't, ebooks are really
Yeah.
ebooks. You can find a lot more light novels than you can physically.
Yeah, and they're pretty cheap if you're buying an ebook. I mean, Kindle, most ebooks go for like $3 to $6, where the physical copies go for $9 to $15.
I'm finding more on Amazon on Kindle, on iBooks.
Even
Obviously,
Nook has a bunch of them.
Yeah.
There's Nook. There's fucking Bookwalker now.
Yeah.
I think mostly like the one who really got that started was a J novel. I'm not sure. Do not quote me on that. But they have really, really done a great service to actually the bringing over light novels and stuff over here. And such a great thing.
And part of it is that, I know a lot of people who are into anime and don't know what a light novel is. Don't know how it's different from a manga or something like that. Like, there's a lot of casual anime viewers who don't look and go, oh, a light novel. Because a light novel, look, we keep calling it a light novel. It's just a chapter book.
Yeah.
It's just a fucking normal book for us.
It's a normal book.
It's obviously it's a light novel in Japan, but for us it's just a normal book you'd find in like teen YA, just smaller.
Yeah, smaller and has some illustrations throughout.
Yeah, but even some YA books have like one illustration per chapter. It just depends. So honestly, go for it. Like, go look at them. There's some really interesting premises there. But I think with that being said, we probably need to move away from light novel production.
We still haven't even done the preview or the polling.
We are also at 32 minutes. So
actually,
this needs to be over.
Let's wrap this up.
Nick, do you mind reading this whole entire thing right here? This is...
oh boy, okay.
Yeah.
No country would ever consider an act of evil to deny a pig human rights. Therefore, if you were to define someone speaking a different tongue, someone of a different color, someone of different heritage as a pig in human form, any oppression, persecution, or atrocity you might inflict upon them would never be regarded as cruel or inhumane. It was when we believed this to be true, when we allowed this to come to pass, that the Republic of San Magnolia's demise began, and the moment it ceased to be. Vladilena Milese Memoirs.
Yeah, I just want to get that in there at least.
Okay. So we need to pull for the next anime. We've already gone far too long on this show, and we could go far longer, so we need to cut it.
Yeah.
All right. So,
know.
drum roll, please.
Roll that wheel.
Rando!
Yeah!
Oh, yeah!
Big surprise.
Oh, shit.
Sorry.
Fuck. That's not going to fix. All right. So, the random hat has been drawn, so I will now proceed to choose a name from our anime hat.
More drum roll.
Drum roll, please. You absolute cunt bag of a shit stain
Is
on
it citrus?
humanity.
Is it citrus?
You shit stain on fucking humanity. I can't include any of this. I literally can't. But you shit stain on humanity.
Oh no!
It's actually citrus.
Everyone shut up for a second.
Oh my god!
This is your fault, Nick Nack. You will suffer. You will suffer.
I mean, yeah, I'm gonna be watching Citrus.
We're all suffering.
So we're going to go do a quick preview of what Citrus is and then give you some brief opinions.
I am ready to have another anime in toilet tier.
Well, we just watched the trailer for Citrus. You're going to hell. You're going to a worse hell for telling him to put this in here.
And I'm gonna absolutely enjoy
You're
the
not
suffering.
any better, Mr. Junjo Romantica. Shut the fuck up. I am so done with this group of people.
I'm gonna
Actually,
thoroughly
I have a
enjoy
good
the
quote for this.
suffering.
I
Well,
hate
let's see.
you
I had it
all.
going. Yes, says he has citrus. What? You had
Day
Data
Live.
Live.
I had Day
Yeah,
Live.
you
I
had
had Day
Day
Live.
Live.
He's got worse. He put in Junior Romantica.
Air
No, but
Manga
of the
Sensei
stuff
as
that we
well.
actually showed though on the channel.
Who's the more foolish, the fool or the fool who follows him? Obi-Wan Kenobi, A New Hope.
You wish you were as cool as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Born
All
is
right,
only said 1 out of 10.
this is a
I don't know who listens.
shitty. This is a shitty ass fucking Yuri about an all-girls school with a girl who's like super thirsty for getting a boyfriend or something. I don't know.
Don't give a shit. Doesn't matter anyway.
It feels way too much the domestic Nakano Joe.
I think
although it
Domestic
changed
Nakano
fucking-
Joe is better, personally.
Fucking really? Oh no!
With that being said, we'll see you next week, everyone.
Kill us now.
No,
Yes.
no, you don't get to complain.
Wait, if you actually like another episode of 86 where we just talk about craziness, like, subscribe, comment about it.
Because I will let you know. I will feel no shame when one of my shitty shows gets pulled. Absolutely none.